Ready.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to BSTV. I'm Clyde Whiting, and tonight we bring you around 4 of the EDF Motorsports GT4 TCR Challenge live from Sonoma in America. In the booth with me tonight, I have Mr. Yaz Samai. Good evening, Yaz.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. I'm glad to be back at Sonoma, where I made my commentary debut.
And there he is with these dulcet tones. Obviously, Princess Pete is, I was going to say racing, but I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say taking part tonight. Bill is having an early nana nap. And we're not sure whether Stacey's going to join us later, but your cameraman, special effects wizard, and accidental presser of the slow motion button every time Pete crashes. Good evening, Sam Boozin.
Good evening and good full slow motion night today. I feel like it.
Yeah, it's one of them tracks. And also in the booth, making a special guest appearance, not sure how long he's going to stay with us, is Mr. Matt Gale, owner of the Virtual Racing Association. So good evening, Matt.
Good evening, everyone, and how's things tonight then? Hopefully it'll be a bit cleaner than some weeks.
Yeah, we did witness a corker at Monza with the Next Level E Series guys on Monday. You can imagine some of the mess that went on there. Yaz, so Sonoma, as you said, your commentary debut was here. But what about racing here? Is it a track that you enjoy?
Well, it was my accidental commentary debut because I just gave up on this track. It's not an easy one. It's not an easy one at all. There's a lot of undulation, a lot of ups and downs, and to keep the car on track. You just need to. It's a difficult one to keep the car on track. And if you can keep your focus for the hour you should place, I think you'll see a lot of people sliding out. Lots of slow-mos, Sam slow-mos in there. So, yeah, it's going to take a lot of concentration from the guys tonight. And, yeah, hopefully we'll have a good one.
Yeah, and Matt, obviously we want to talk about VRA, but just quickly, do you have any experience with Sonoma, either on iRacing or any other sims?
Yeah, I mean, Sonoma raced there before with World Touring cars when they raced there years ago. It's a narrow track. It's not easy to pass on. There aren't very many opportunities to overtake. And the undulations, like Yaz says, can throw a car off. So it'll be interesting to see if any of these GT4s can keep with the TCRs, which I'd imagine would probably be better set up for this track, if anything.
Yeah, possibly. Interesting to see all the GT4s or Porsches tonight. So let's, before we get into the race properly, Virtual Racing Association, Matt. So it's been nearly a year since we formed a bit of a broadcasting partnership with yourself and VRA. We've had too many to count on my Norfolk fingers of good races and good championships. But what people might not know is what Virtual Racing Association is. So give us a rundown on what you do.
Yeah, sure. I mean, VRA was set up back in 2014. Originally, the idea was to bridge the gap between real life and sim racing. And as everyone knows, over the last 18 months, that's happened massively. But we originally set out to do that. And we've been very lucky over the years. We've worked with likes of Porsche, we've worked with Britcar, we've been World Touring Cars is still a very good partner of ours. But we've also formed partnerships off track with teams and various companies such as Yato and Daimler, which want to get out there. And all of it's been made possible really by working together in partnerships. And the whole VRA thing is quite literally that. The whole idea of it is to set up partnerships with both the virtual world, the racing world, and build associations. So everyone that works with VRA has a definite connection. It's been brilliant working with Backfire and working together with Backfire, because bringing some of these series out there has always been something I've wanted to do with iRacing. But our background has mostly been on console, but we moved away from that over the last few years to concentrate on trackside coverage. And we do a lot of work with karting, and we do a lot of work with other series such as Dakar. So to start building up the sim side again with Backfire, and especially with our actual race team XVR Sim Racing, has been brilliant, because it just means that we're making steps to where we want to get to. And I think that's the key thing, is each year, even though we've had all this COVID and we've had all this pandemic, we've still made steps. And it's just a case of keeping that going and bringing everything together. So there are a lot of stuff going on in the background, a lot of stuff we're putting together. We're very happy to be working with yourself, Clive, and Sam. And certainly, I think over the next probably 6 to 12 months, there's going to be some exciting times for everyone. And we're very, very keen to keep the whole ethos of that really working together. And that's really where it all comes from.
Yeah, and like you said, obviously you're bringing real world partners into sim racing. You mentioned Damar and Yato, and obviously the principal sponsor of this series, EDF Motorsports. That was another connection of yours, and they wanted to get involved. We had the platform for them to get involved. And they've been absolutely fantastic as sponsors and with their prizes and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie is absolutely brilliant. I could not fault Eddie Farrow at all. I've worked with him since getting to know him at Britcar many years ago, and the fact that he wants to see the gap between real life and sim come together, and he builds his own sims, and we've worked very closely with him, and especially in the last, I'd say, 2 years, to help give him the real knowledge of how to get those sims working, so that the guys who are on track can get access to them. And we're not just talking about your standard sim here. We're talking about all the stuff that you would normally have at home. So your Fanatec's, your Thrustmasters. You can get access to all that. Plus, you can get the monitors and everything. And they bring it all together into one big package. And okay, they can be varied in price, but it means that the guys who are on track can then train at home. And the brilliance of working with Eddie and bringing this together has been able to, is that once all this COVID's gone, the guys who are racing in these series, the top guys who win it and do very well in it, and I think they've done brilliantly to get this far, get the opportunity to go up there and actually experience one of these sims for themselves. And I can honestly say, having been on a sim in the past, the difference that you get from a home sim to one of those can be massive. But the advantage that Eddie's got is he's got his other partner, which is JB Data Engineering, and they come together and they actually make it so much easier for you to understand what's going on your sim, that you might go there and think you're fast now, but you'll lose easily a second, maybe 2 seconds within 1 hour of being on that sim. It makes so much of a difference.
Yes, absolutely brilliant. So nice insight there from Matt about Virtual Racing Association and what they do and what we do with them. Not sure how long Matt is going to stick around. It'd be nice if he'd like to stick around and do a bit of commentary with us. If you've got any quick questions for Matt about what Matt does, what Matt likes to do on iRacing, about Virtual Racing Association, drop them in the chat and we'll make sure that we get the questions across to him. But for now, we're going to have to go back to the race because we are in the last minute of qualifying. Currently, your GT4 field, Tyler Newitt leads the way. Rob Venn switches from McLaren to Porsche and is still in second behind Tyler. Andy Perks is back and in third place, and Stefan Goebel is in fourth. Now, TCR is very interesting tonight. Gary Craig has got himself on provisional pole at the moment. Lee Bowden, yes, it's Lee Bowden. Just to remind Lee, that is how you say your surname, not how you think you say it. It's currently in second. And the Pie Man, Carl Hardy, is up there in third. So, yeah, very interesting in the TCR field, Jazz.
Yeah, I'm glad to see Gary Craig back on top again. He's had a couple of, I wouldn't say poor weeks, but he just wasn't looking himself in the first couple of weeks. So I'm glad to see he's back on top there.
Yeah, I
You
think
know,
Pete actually explained what was going on with Gary. He's had some pedals that have been glitching, and he's got himself a new set of pedals. So that could just be a Gary excuse, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt this time.
or whatever it is, I'm just glad to see he's pick up a pace there. Carl Hardy again up there with the times. In third place. Let's hope he can convert that into something good tonight.
Yeah, Matt, have you driven any of these cars?
I've driven the TCR Audi before, and I enjoyed it, but it's very front-heavy braking, and I suppose if you get chances at it up in the air, it works very well. And I've actually been very close and sat in a Porsche GT4 myself. They're brilliant cars, extremely well built. So I think the fact they're very, very close is, on time-wise, isn't surprising.
Yeah, and the session is over. So that was a quick qualifying. It's always the same when we chat. So let's have a quick look on the chat. So Marco Lawert says hi everybody and is complaining about how quiet Matt is. We've done everything we can our end. Tyler Newitt, who should be concentrating on driving, is trying to get Marco back in the car. Marco says he's back next week and he's coming back for Nordschleife. That's one I'll probably fall asleep for. Stacey's listening in the car. So hopefully she's on her way back from work and maybe she can join us when she gets in. We'll have to wait and see. So let's bring you your official starting grid for tonight. So in GT4, we have Tyler Newitt going off in first place, Rob Venn in second, Andy Perks in third, and Stefan Goebel in fourth. In your TCR field, we have Gary Craig going off from pole, Lee Bowden in second, Carl Hardy in third, Pete Bingham is fourth, Mark Draper going off fifth, Jamie Wilson in sixth, Martin Brennan in seventh, Frank T-Bosch in eighth, and running up the rear, because we know David Ayres likes that, it's the man himself, what does Bill call him? David Evers.
No, Bill
Right.
calls anybody anything. Nice to see, see Pete qualifying up in fourth there. Let's see what he can do with that good qualifying.
Not going to last, mate. Not going to last.
The GT4 field is very small this week, so let's see who's going to miss out on that podium.
Yeah,
I'm sure whoever misses out on the podium is going to be quite disappointed.
Excuse me. Right.
I think the pace between Rob Venn and Andy Perks and Stefan Goebel is very similar. I guess to jinx him, I'm going to say Tyler's probably going to run away with this one, and I'm hoping that I do jinx him just a little bit so that there's a bit more of a race on in the GT4s tonight.
So currently looking back from Tyler Newitt's car. It's a pace car, is it? Sorry. Why does it say Tyler Newitt on my screen then?
Because in SDK you cannot select the safety car. I just cheated and used the iRacing cameras indirectly, not SDK.
So Sam's doing stuff without telling us now.
Yeah, I'm a real wizard now, you know. I'm
It's
doing
not
stuff
what
you don't understand.
It's not what I've heard you described as, to be fair.
I know this is a very fun first sector, so it'll be very interesting to watch how the start goes here and when Tyler goes and how the rest follow.
He's going to go.
Coming.
He's gone.
Yeah.
Andy Perk's got a good jump there on Rob Venn. Gary Craig is gone.
Yeah, looks like Andy Perks has taken that inside line.
Yeah, he certainly has.
TCR seemed to spread out quite a bit before the start line here, so we'll see how this one plays out. But looks like Gary Craig has secured his lead there with Lee Bowden right behind him, and Carl Hardy and Pete Bingham staying in the same order there. So that's all going well.
Yeah, we've seen the respect, haven't we, with all the drivers, to be fair, but especially the TCR field.
I think, like I said, the first sector of this racetrack is a very tricky one and very much about survival, and then the second part towards the end is where they're going to try and make their moves. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out towards as the evening goes on. Also remember the track it's quite hot at the moment, so you'll have to see them take it quite easy because it will become quite slippery.
Yeah, we're looking at 100 degrees Fahrenheit for the track at the moment. It's coming up to 4:15 in the afternoon sim time.
And that's also going to play into how the tyres survive the hour-long race. We're going to have those pit stops again. We'll be kept guessing whether it's going to be 1 or 2 stops, who's going to go longer, who's going to go shorter. And then do you take tyres? Is it worthwhile taking the tyres around here?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the drivers take either lefts or rights. But the nature of this track, if you're going to take tyres, surely it's better to take 4. Rob Venn getting back past Andy Perks there. Stefan Goebel still in touch. Tyler Newitt stretching away to about 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 seconds. He wishes it was 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think that taking 4 tires does take significantly longer than just taking 2. So and it's all about how you're able to claw back that time.
Exactly. That's always the overriding factor, isn't it, with tyres? Can you get that time back and some by taking all your tyres?
And looking at this track, it is I think it is majority right-hand turns. So the left-hand side tires are the ones that are going to take the beating, and that's probably the side you're going to see them taking if they are going to take one side.
But if you was these 3 that are not quite on pace with Tyler, would you not be tempted to do something different, knowing that Tyler is possibly going to take 2 or probably take 2 tyres? Would you not be tempted to try a none or a 4?
Well, I guess you could try something different, or just knowing that Tyler's out there in front, just drive your own race. Sometimes the only way that you are going to beat him when he's that much faster is if he makes a mistake. But I wouldn't personally. I don't think they would compromise their own race to try and maybe try and out-strategize the strategy king. We know Tyler knows exactly what he's doing most of the time in terms of strategy, so it's going to be very difficult to sort of outthink him on that side of things.
So something happened to Jamie Wilson there. Now, I couldn't see it on the replay.
No, there are no cars. I think he jumped to the pits according to the event tracker. So I wonder if he got disconnected or something.
Possibly.
That is weird.
Or not putting any fuel in after qualifying.
Well, looking at that replay, it looked like the safety car was coming in when he was pulling out. So maybe something happened at the start.
Yeah, he definitely started from the pits, that's for sure.
Well, this is a tight race here between the result guys here.
Yeah, David Ayres has been working on Frank T-Bosch for most of the last lap. Has finally got it done, but Frank's not letting him go.
I think David has shown some good pace this past few races that has been passed. I think he got a podium in the first race.
Yeah, so we're just saying Jamie Wilson was definitely on the grid.
Yeah, I know I lost him, so I think he went to the pits and not get back on track for the green flag.
Yeah, there's definitely a gap there, isn't there?
Yeah, he's not on track anymore already when the safety car goes racing, so he will probably tell us after the race.
Oh, I'm sure he will.
It doesn't look like Tyler's pulling away too quickly from the rest of the group. He's probably managing his fuel load.
Yeah, you know it. Tyler is using a symbol per lap.
Yeah, if you know him, we know him very well to be managing his race best as he can. He tried to go as long as he can in the first stint, while everybody else is pushing very hard to keep up with him. Rob Venn has shown real good pace this season so far. I think being in the stable with Tyler has really helped him along get up there.
I say it every week, Yaz. I know the talent that Rob Venn has got because I have raced with him for many, many years. And he had a hiatus from iRacing, and it took him longer than I thought to get back up to speed. But he's now showing his true speed. Carl Hardy's looking racy again tonight.
Yeah, he has shown good. He's definitely shown good pace this season so far. He's just gotten unlucky in between. You know, he just had a few incidences in the races before. But the pace has definitely been there. I don't know if he's been chasing some ties or what it's been that's been the difference. But definitely a lot quicker than he's been in previous seasons. He's up there again, chasing them down Lee and Gary. And it looks like they're pulling away from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, Andy Perks put a move on Rob Venn again. Oh, sorry, I was in mid-yawn then.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the places where we're probably going to see quite a bit of overtakes in that final hairpin. There's a lot of space, and if someone comes up the inside, then you don't really want to cut their nose off. So, we're going to see people swap places quite often.
Yeah, I like watching the NASCAR round here because there's always a lot of bumping and banging round there. And we just had a quick inset picture of the smiling assassin. Now we're on board with Jamie Wilson, who has caught up to the back of the TCR field after whatever problem it was that he had at the start.
I have a feeling that he didn't fuel up on the start line. I have a feeling that's what it could have been.
Yeah, possibly. Although that's not a mistake that Jamie usually makes. So I'm going to say he needed a poo.
It looks like he's going to make the move on Frank T-Bosch here. He can just hold it together. Yep, and looks like Andy Perks pulling up right next to Tyler here, again in that corner. So we don't know what kind of games Tyler is playing here.
No, but great pace from Andy Perks.
For sure.
So Jamie Wilson has got that job done on Frank T-Bosch. His next target will be David Ayres. is Sam's curb cam.
Yeah, looks like all the drivers have opted for the Porsche tonight. I know if it's the track. Let's see what happens. I hope they stick with their choice for the rest of the season and not have too much chopping and changing.
Yeah, I think Rob probably changed because the McLaren just eats fuel.
Yeah, he did struggle with fuel last week. So,
Yeah.
I think that being in the Porsche with everybody else would sort of equalize that handicap that he had last week. I think his front three are pulling away a little bit from Stefan Goebel. And Stefan Goebel's no slouch either. I think that these Andy Perks and Rob Bennett just up their game to be up with the pace.
Stefan's has upped his game, hasn't he? He races in a few of our series, and he's certainly getting quicker each and every season.
Yeah, we saw him on the podium towards the end of last season in the series. So
yeah. Mark Draper's had an off.
And what's happening with Frank T. Bosch there? Mark Draper running towards the back of the field now. Ooh, looks like something went wrong there with hardware.
Yeah, well, he just took too much in speed-wise on that corner. This one's going to end in a crash. Jamie's good. Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Ouch. Oh, that's not tires. That looks like concrete tires.
They are concrete tires, yeah. I think Frank just slowed a little bit sooner than Jamie expected.
Yeah.
Was there any net code in that?
It looks like it was just a combination of different braking points. There.
Yeah.
And Jamie just couldn't stop it in time.
Sam's dying, or someone's dying.
Yeah, it looks like Andy keeps pulling up next to Rob. Next to Tyler.
He's took the lead, hasn't he?
Made the pass there. Let's see how Tyler responds.
I think Tyler and Rob have worked out a one-stop strategy. And I don't think Andy going to the front is going to bother him in the slightest.
Yeah, Andy's he's quite a smart guy as well. I think that if there's a one-stopper in play, I think he'll do what he needs to get there. He's shown before that he thinks about the racing as much as it's not all about being as fast as possible. It's about planning out the race as best as you can. So I'm sure you'd have thought about it as well, and also knows what he's doing. But I mean, in that final corner, we've seen Andy pull up next to Tyler a few times in the laps before that, and he's finally just made the move to come up the inside and made the move stick.
Yeah, I think that's where the Tyler and Rob are saving the majority of their fuel by coasting into that corner, and that obviously gave Andy 2 or 3 occasions where he could get down the inside of them. This is David Ayres, who's now up with Martin Brennan.
David has been working his way up quite slowly. Through those. I mean, he's made up 3 spaces from the start already. So if he makes this one, keep it through the section.
Yeah, Martin's got the racing line there.
Yeah, Martin's been doing really well. He also just needs a result to come his way, but he's definitely showing the pace, an improvement over the last season. I know we say that every week, and we speak about it every week, but it definitely shows from where he was in the beginning to where he is now. It's chalk and cheese.
Yeah, and it's nice to see, isn't it? You know, drivers do come into some of our series with very little experience of sim racing or very little experience of driving a particular car. Sometimes very little experience of league racing. And it's nice to see the improvements that they make week on week, season on season. And you know, the ones that ultimately end up doing well are the ones that learn from their mistakes, learn from the quicker drivers, and don't just try to break lap records every week.
Yeah, I think I mean, I'm one of those. You know, you come into this environment, and it's daunting. It's intimidating when you see these people are so much, so much more experienced than you, so much quicker than you, and all you're wanting to do is drive the socks out of the car so you can try and keep up with everybody, and all you're doing is doing yourself harm. And then eventually, as the further you're going up, I think the nice thing, I mean, this is something we mention all the time. The nice thing about this league is that there's enough people around who's willing to help you, and you just got to take that in, and that's what Martin's done. You know,
most definitely.
He's just been there. He's listened to the guidance and the advice of the experienced guys, and sort of pull that back. You know, instead of overdriving the car or pushing too hard, you just focus on certain areas every week after week, and you see that improvements week after week.
Like you say, you can, you can get frustrated by trying to keep up with these guys, and like you say, you overdrive the car, you end up wrecking your tyres, and your lap times get worse, and you know, a lot of the time it's the old adage that you have to go slower to go faster.
Yeah, and I think it's just about having your own battle versus when you're in that learning phase, it's about having a battle with yourself rather than trying to race the other guys. So you're trying to improve yourself week after week, so it doesn't matter whether you come last or second last or third last. You just give yourself small targets to kind of make rather than trying to win races. And I think that's what Martin's done. He's enjoyed it. I mean, whenever you speak to him, you can hear he's just having fun.
Exactly.
Whether he's swearing in the middle of the race because something's happened, he's made a mistake. But at the end of it, he's enjoying it. Even coming last is fun for him, and that's the important part. And that keeps you coming back for more. And he's definitely not going anywhere. I don't see him leaving anytime soon. So
exactly.
He's just getting better and better as he comes along.
It's the hunger to get better, isn't it? And some drivers have got the patience, like you say, to learn from others, and some haven't. And the ones that haven't are the ones that tend to disappear after a few races because they don't take these things on board. But fantastic bunch of drivers in this league. Yes, we'd like more cars, but they still provide really good racing. Not quite sure what happened to GT4. I sort of expected the GT4s to be quite big because we had the new McLaren released, but no, it hasn't worked that way. But like I say, these drivers still put on hell of a races, and they always keep us guessing all the way to the end of the race.
Yeah, I mean, like even with the small fields that we've had this season, I mean, it hasn't been big for the GT4s, but I mean, the races have been epic. So and then again, it's just about You don't have to have a big field to have good battles,
Exactly.
and that's what you're looking for. And that's what you're looking for in these races. You really. That being said, the TCR field, it's not as small. Tonight it looks a little bit small, but it has been growing. But that field is as close to, they are all as close to on pace as you can get. So I mean, anybody can win a race in that TCR field. It's just really tight racing and just exciting racing.
Yeah, we just see Stefan Goebel there take a little bit too much curb, and car was out of control for a few seconds, but he gathered it up and kept going.
Talking about this tight field, we look at this here where Martin Brennan making a move on Mark Draper.
I think that's the other way round. I think that's Mark taking Martin.
Oh.
Yeah, David Ayres got past first, and then the recovering Mark Draper. Yeah, I think he got spooked by David, didn't he, on the inside?
So when your spotter just calls the car on the inside, it can give you a fright.
Yeah, it certainly can. Next up is Jamie Wilson. So he can see 3 positions in front of him.
I believe Martin has also started racing in VR. So he might have got an extra flight with the car pulling up. So here we see David is again made his way up to 5th, starting in 9th. So he's just slowly moving his way up. His next target is our favorite Princess Pete. We haven't seen him again today. It's only 21 minutes in this time. I know the last race it took him 47 minutes to make it onto Cambria, then he spun out. So he's halfway there this week.
Yeah, it'll happen. Although, to be fair to Pete, we have done a lot of laps around this track. It used to feature quite heavily on the V8 calendar, so that will help him. Although it's a totally different car, at least he does know the track. Jamie's putting a hell of a lot of pressure on Martin now.
Again, we're talking about Martin and where he was and where he's at now. Martin, in the beginning, all he used to do was pull over to let people go by.
Or spin himself out trying to defend.
Yeah, now you see him actually holding his own and actually putting on a fight and not just giving up. So again, these are the little improvements that we see. It looks like Jamie Wilson might make the move on him, but he's not just laying down and letting it go, and that's good to see.
It was hot in there. He's going to suffer on the way out. That should be job done. Yeah.
When it comes to this racing, and it's about getting comfortable in your lap times. Being consistent in how you lap and being quick. So, if Jamie is going to be quicker than Martin, he's going to get the move done at some point. And again, like you say, Martin just needs to drive within himself and not try and drive. Don't drive the race that is in his own. Just stick in there.
A very wise old head in the V8s once said to me that if your lap time, Clyde, is at 1 minute 30, do every single lap at 1 minute 30. Don't do a 1 minute 25 and then a 2 minutes 30 because you've crashed.
Yeah, that's very true. You can rather be consistent in what's within you rather than trying to push, because obviously the more you push, you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah, change of
There
the
we see
lead again.
Tyler making a move again, back in that same, again, that hairpin. So yeah, I think you'll probably see this happen a few times. You know, eventually we're going to see Tyler try and pull away from the rest of the pack.
Yeah,
But I
they've
think
dropped from Ben.
that will probably happen in the second half of the race. We're looking at 25 minutes in now, so we're getting closer to the pit stop window. So yeah, we'll wait and see who blinks first, and then that sort of tells us where we're at, and then we sort of regroup again and restart. They have dropped Robin a bit, so we'll see what Tyler does here with Andy. If he tries to drive away, or still keeps keeps the feather on that throttle.
Yeah, does he play the good teammate, try and back Andy into Rob?
Yeah, that's a
Mark
hard.
Draper again. How did he end up over there? We're about to find out. Oh, that's how he ended up over there.
What was that? Was that just a hard brake to avoid going into the back of?
I think so, yeah. I think he looked like he thought about the move and then backed out of it at the last minute. But then it was a bit too late. Yeah, the back end just stepped out a little bit. But this didn't help him, reversing hard into the barrier. Although easily done when you're angry with yourself. So Lee Bowden is our first taker on the pit stops.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty early. And Andy Perks is in, which that's before the halfway mark. So does that mean he's going to have to stop again?
Wow, yeah.
And likewise for Lee Bowden, I know that Lee isn't a fan of the fuel save, so he was going all out, so we might see him also having to stop a second time.
Possibly, although I do think the TCR window might be slightly bigger than the GT4 window. So that might just be an attempted undercut from Lee.
Okay, and I think it was a quick stop, but I don't think he would have taken tires in that stop.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. No, 23 seconds stationary.
They do take tires and fuel at the same time, remember? So
yeah, but I think if he took tires, it would have only been one side.
He took tires for but yeah, probably one side.
One side.
Yeah, and I think I agree with Yaz. If you're going to take one side only, it's got to be left.
Andy Perks is now in behind the TCR, so this might compromise his times in the pit. If Tyler does come in and Rob do come in, him being stuck behind the TCR is definitely going to benefit Tyler and Rob with their stops. But it looks like Tyler and Rob have definitely got one stop strategy in the bag here, considering they've gone nearly to the halfway mark.
So that was Gary Craig coming in. So I was literally, as you were speaking there, I was going to say, will Gary Craig come in now to cover off Lee Bowden? Or will he stick to whatever his original plan was? But he's just answered that for us.
Yeah, at this stage, Carl Hardy is leading the TCR field. And he's also still in it. I mean, he was also up there with the top three. So you know, after his pit stop, we'll have to see how things play out. It's going to be tight.
So there's Lee.
Yeah, I think Gary's definitely got him.
Yeah.
That is quite a long way up the field here. And now we'll wait and see when Carl comes in, which will probably be very soon as well.
Yeah, no tires for Gary, so that's different strategy.
Yeah. Let's see whether Gary suffers for that at the end.
I think with the high track temps, I think the cars will get a bit slower towards the end of the race. But that's going to be quite late on, probably towards the 50-minute mark. You know, when they're going to start sliding around and needing to slow themselves down.
So Tyler's.
Here we go. Our leader comes in.
David Ayres and Martin Brennan are both in. Rob Venn is in.
It's a very long pit lane, this. It's extremely long pit lane, this one. But in saying that, it's equally long for everybody. So it just feels like it takes forever when you're coming in. Tyler's up in the air.
Yeah, so both of them guys are taking lefts, aren't they?
Stefan Goebel isn't.
No, he's going no tyres. Tyler away.
And very close together again, coming out to the Andy pit. Just kept Rob Venn behind him. Very close to Tyler. And now we'll have to see what Tyler does. Does he drive away from the rest of the pack now? Or does he still play the games with Andy? You also need to remember now, when Carl comes in, Carl hasn't stopped yet, so when he comes in, he also needs to take less fuel than what the other guys would have taken.
Yeah, keep Bingham the same as well.
So the stops might be a little bit shorter. So, yeah, we'll see how that plays out to the TCRs as well.
So this is a first at the moment. Pete Bingham is doing his own fuel strategy. His fuel strategy usually is whatever Gary does.
Well, Pete's been sort of having a race on his own for most of this race. He was I think about 8 seconds off the front three, and then there was another gap of 10 seconds behind him. So he's been driving on his own. Sometimes it can be quite can be a lonely place, but it's also a nice place to just you know, run your own race, not have to worry about looking in your mirrors or watching the car in front of you. Just putting in your own lap times. You know, like a practice session with no disturbances. So hopefully that is giving him some good times in you know, just the relaxed time on the track. So we'll see how it plays out for him in this race.
So that was it was a good little battle there, which unfortunately halted due to Mark going into the pits.
Yeah, Mark's been having a bit of a nightmare tonight. Beating a couple of walls a few times. It looks like his front two have pulled quite a long way away from Rob winning third place. So we'll see what Tyler does with Andy, if Andy can keep up, or if, or like you say, does Tyler play? Does Tyler slow things down and back things up for Rob to come back into this race for second place? The gap is quite large, so I think it would be very difficult for Tyler to do that, to get Rob back into this. But we don't know how this will play out.
Yeah, looking at the fuel strategy, I think Rob is definitely into the second place race. Andy Burks will probably have to pit again, looking at where he started his first stop. So I'm pretty sure Rob is effectively second, and we will see that in like 20 minutes when Andy will go second time into the pits.
Yeah, that's also true. That being said, Andy can play this one out. He could try and save a bit of fuel. He could get a bit lucky with Robin. Like we see them going through traffic now, giving him a bit of extra time to be able to sort of slow into the corners and save a bit of fuel himself to try and make it to the end. But yeah, we don't know if he's thinking about that at this stage.
So, who fancies an in-car interview with Tyler Newitt? Let him just get this done. There we go. Let's drag him in. Tyler Newitt, we've dragged you into the booth.
Hello.
Hello. So, looks like you've done your fuel saving. Are you worried about Mr. Perks, or do you believe he's going to have to make a splash and dash at the end?
I don't want to be rude, but no, I am not worried about Mr. Perks. He's either going to have to make a splash and dash at the end or start losing about a second a lap. So, no, at this point, I am pretty confident unless Rob finds some real pace here.
Okay, and is there anything you can do to help Rob out to claim that second spot on the podium?
Second, I think Rob's got it. I think, like I said, I think Andy is going to be hard pressed to hold on to that without doing some mega saving. So I'm not too worried about Rob's race at the moment, but it's looking good for BSTV, I'd say.
Yeah, and what's the track like? We've dropped 6 degrees to 94 Fahrenheit since the start of the race. Is it slippery, or are you still finding plenty of grip?
It's definitely still slick. I tell you what, though, I'm glad to be running it in a Porsche this season instead of the BMW. Just kind of lumbered around here, but this is quite pleasant to drive. So it's it's still slick. It's still tough. I mean, I took left sides on the pit stop, but sorry, Gary distracted me there. I took left sides on the pit stop, and that took a little bit to get worn in, but now I'm pretty comfortable.
Okay, mate. Well, we'll let you get back to the race, and good luck for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so quick in-car, in-race interview with Tyler Newitt. Always forget that, he says, feel free to drag me in. So, we got him. And it looks like Miss Stacey Jeffries is going to join us very shortly as well.
Yeah, just while we were there with Tyler, just all the TCRs have done their pit stops, and it looks like Carl Hardy's come out tops there with his stop. Jamie Wilson's in now, so as we see there, that's just happened. Carl Hardy's in the lead after everybody stopped, so that's played out well for him.
Okay, so that's very interesting. So obviously Carl had to take less fuel. I'm guessing he's gone for 0 tyres. And looking at his pit stop time, I think that just sorts it out. Although it was only marginally under a second quicker than Gary's.
Well, if it was under a second, that could have just been that he took less fuel. So I think they're probably on the same tire strategy. Or something else also we missed is that Pete Bingham led for 2 laps, which I don't think has ever happened before. So
Yeah, we don't mention that, Yaz. His head's big enough already, so.
Yeah,
I
and
think
Lee
there's probably
is
going to
running
be
him
a
down.
bank.
Yeah, Lee is running Gary and Carl down like super fast. He's now almost on their back, so
And that's
interesting.
This could just be a glitch from me, Sam. On the event viewer, I've got Gary Craig crashed.
Yeah, that's a glitch from you.
Right,
I
okay.
see nothing.
I've got that at 41:01.95.
Yeah, I think these 3 were quite tied together before the pit stop, so they've just changed order after the pit stop. So I don't think there were any crashes, but this is going to make the rest of the evening quite fun for the 3 of them and quite fun for us to watch.
Stacey, are you with us?
I certainly am. Good evening, everybody. How are we all doing?
Yeah, not too bad. How was the stripping tonight?
Didn't make enough money.
Oh, right. Oh, well, we're not sure that Martin's been doing any swearing either, so you're not going to make any money off of him.
Damn, I was hoping the swear jar was going to be full by the time I got back.
Yeah. So far, it's been a fascinating tactical race. And we've just spoken to Tyler Newitt whilst he's racing. Tyler and Rob are under the impression that Andy Perks is going to have to splash and dash, which would promote Rob then up to second place in GT4. And Carl Hardy, through that pit stop sequence, has taken the lead of TCRs.
Absolutely fantastic. This is really good to see for sure. I was hoping that Carl would do pretty well today.
Yeah, so we've got first, second, and third under a blanket in TCRs at the moment, with just over 17 minutes to go. So it's going to be fascinating to see what happens here. From Carl's point of view, obviously he wants Gary and Lee to start going door to door, side to side, to eke out a little gap. Ideally, coming together would be nice for Carl, but I know Carl would never wish that on anybody.
Of course not. Who would?
Even for the win. Evening to Mr. Toon on the chat. Says greetings, Stacey, and come on, Carl.
Hi, Alan. Hope you're well.
Looks like Gary's really putting up to the back bump of Carl now. And yeah, like you said, Carl's hope here is that Lee gets on the back of Gary and the 2 of them start battling. And hopefully he can pull away a little bit. Just put a little bit of time between the 2 of them. There's not much left in the race right now. We're looking at about 16 minutes left.
16 minutes on the nose now, yeah. Carl is chatting to Gary on the driver chat, trying to put him off, no doubt, telling him about different types of pie and things like that.
Yeah, Gary's all over him at this point. Do we know if they took tyres in the pit stop?
I don't think either of these 2 took tyres, but I think Lee Bowden behind them did. And I know Mr. Alan Toon on the chat is going to be very happy because I saw a very dapper picture of him today with his new velvet jacket on.
Yeah, I think. Oh, it looks like Lee's on the back of Gary
Yeah,
now, which
this
is
is exactly
really going to
what Carl
play.
wants.
Yeah, because now Gary needs to be driving in his mirrors at this stage, and Carl can get on with it a little bit. But yeah, I think the next 15 minutes are going to be a bit of poop in the pants moments here for
I think
two
they're
of
going
them.
to be very stressful for Mr. Hardy.
He just needs to keep down and don't make any mistakes, because the other two will be right behind, ready to lap up any mistake that he might make. So fingers crossed, his head's in the game here.
Yeah, he literally needs to drive his lines, and I think really the only place he needs to defend properly is here into this last hairpin.
Yeah, and yeah, again, you talk about driving your own race. He's shown that he has the pace of these guys up front here. It's not a case of him holding up the field at this point. It's just that they are all on really equal pace. So yeah, he just needs to drive his race in his lines, like you say, and just not make any mistakes. And if he can do that, then he should be fine.
It's so he was a bit slow up there. It's very easy to sit in the commentary booth and tell these guys, "Whoa,
That's not what he wanted."
Whoa!"
I think that was quite ambitious from both drivers. I know we always talk about the fairness and how easy and fair these guys race, but that looked a little bit dodgy from I don't even know from which side to say, but there were a couple of moves there that
I think
were not
Carl
nice.
was out of shape, wasn't he? Well, Carl's out of shape anyway, but yeah.
He's gone off now. He's lost 2 places in half a lap. We were trying to sing his praises for a while there. I wonder if it's his tyres that he's went off.
Could be.
That he's struggling.
And I was also going to say it's, not that I've done it much, but leading a race is obviously a very nice place to be. But it's so easy to sit in a commentary booth and tell the leader to drive their own race and do this and do that and do the other. But you drive when you're first. You're driving the race looking in your rearview mirror. You shouldn't, but you do. It's natural. You can't help it. You're trying to anticipate if the driver behind is going to make a lunge somewhere, if they're going to try something from a different postcode, and it is very, very difficult not to look in your rearview mirror, not to look at your relative, see what the gap is. All the things that you shouldn't do, you end up doing.
Yeah, I think, yeah, like you say, it's easy for us to sit here and also, like you say, neither of us have led very often. But I mean that happens in any position where you're at when there's someone behind you. You always telling yourself, just drive your own race. But as soon as there's a car in your mirrors, it's very difficult not to be looking back there and trying to make sure that they're not going to do something silly, and then what happens? You do something silly.
Yeah, exactly. You break a fraction of a second too late, go wide, and they're past, and you're kicking yourself.
I do, however, think that Carl has burnt off his tires now. It's in that window, like I said, in the last 10-15 minutes. We would see who's lost their tires, and it looks like Carl is dropping off the back of them quite significantly now compared to how he was racing the beginning of this race. So yeah, I'd be surprised if it's not because of the tires that are worn off and that he's struggling.
Yeah, a little over 10 minutes to go.
Just noticed we've got a few TCRs there out of place. Mark should be a lot higher than what he is.
Yeah, Mark's had a couple of self-induced spins.
Has he been
Has that-
practicing drifting?
Yeah, Jamie Wilson, we're not quite sure what happened to him. He was on the grid, then he didn't start on the grid, ended up starting in the pit lane. So whether he had a technical failure and had to reset something, or whether he made the cardinal mistake of gridding with qualifying fuel, we don't quite know.
There appears to be a lot of chatting going on upstairs. Is there any battles going on with Martin and David there?
Martin is just in
and
front
Jamie.
of Wilson. I think Frank T. Bosch may have just been in front or behind of Martin, but has just peeled into the pits for his second stop.
So the top four in the DCRs are still in the same.
Oh, there's
Draper.
Mark again.
Mark Draper's been having a few meetings with the wall there.
Yeah, I think he will be glad to see the back of Sonoma.
Same place again.
Own, isn't he? On the way in, yeah, on that grass. Well, grass, whatever's left of the grass.
Just got edge of heart in there. I don't know what's happened unless you got a replay.
Martin's slacking in and out here, so
Yeah,
Jamie's
he's
right
still
on the
there.
corner. We've seen this battle before.
We have, haven't we? Yeah. Oh, Martin's glitching out by the looks of it.
That really takes time me to exit if he's glitching.
To be honest, it's not going to make much difference because,
We're towards the end of the race anyway.
yeah, Jamie Wilson has got past him and will drive away, and Mark Draper's quite a way behind him, so I wouldn't worry too much. I don't think he's going to scare anybody apart from himself. Oh, battle is on for the lead of TCRs. Lee Bowden is doing the old pulling out, here I am. I'm here, you make a mistake, I'm going past you. Andy Perks is in front of... No, it's Rob Venn, sorry. Rob Venn has closed right up on Andy Perks. So Andy is Andy's either made a mistake, which I don't think he has. I think he's now at that point where, do you know what? I think I better save some fuel, otherwise I'm going to be stopping again.
Yeah, Rob Venn is right on his tail now, so
Yeah.
just about fending him off. A stop here. A stop for Andy would see him even lose a place to Stefan Goebel, who's only 12 seconds behind now, so it would definitely be in Andy's interest to slow things down and just try and get it to the end without needing to stop again. I think Stefan also ran as long as Tyler and Rob.
He did,
so
yeah.
He should be. He should make it to the end quite easily as well.
Yeah, Tyler, Rob and Stefan stopped lap 24, Andy Perks lap 21. And it's very hard to try and defend and save fuel.
Probably at some. It probably do Andy. Well, if he can't defend and save fuel at the same time, he's probably just going to have to let Rob through because he's definitely going to lose that place if he needs to stop again. So it's sort of between a rock and a hard place for Andy at this stage.
No, that's Carl Hardy getting right out of the way there, I believe.
Yeah, Carl's completely out of the battle now for first and second. They've completely pulled away from him even before he pulled completely out of the way. So this battle for 1 and 2 is just for 1 and 2 between Gary and Lee. I said at the beginning of the broadcast, it's nice to see Gary back up there, and here he's leading the race.
So what have we got? 4.5 minutes. So 3 or 4 laps. And again, if Tyler wants to help Rob, he will be gunning it to make sure they get the extra lap, which will obviously put Andy Perks a little bit more perilous on fuel.
Yeah, but if he wants to help Gary, he needs to make it one shorter.
Exactly.
So, there's no team game there. He cannot help both of them, so I think Tyler is gonna race to the end, and we'll see what happens. That's it.
So what you're saying is we're going to find out who Tyler likes the most.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's spicy because,
And this is good, look, because the GT4 battle is now in the middle of the TCR battle, which has really helped Gary.
And that definitely helped Gary out quite a lot. So now it's just going to be a case of, is Gary going to make it to the end on the fuel that he's got? And also, Andy's put a TCR between him and Rob in a very difficult part of the track. It's going to be very difficult for Rob to get past in this section.
Oh, Gary!
Unless Gary does that, completely
Yeah.
out of the way.
I definitely think the pressure being up front, he does get to leave his fuel.
Sometimes it's a curse.
yeah, if Gary does not finish first, I think it is on that mistake.
Yeah. Gary's definitely going to be good on fuel. He very, very, very rarely makes a mistake with his fuel calculations. And he actually stopped 2 laps later than Lee. I think Lee has definitely got the pace at the moment. So this is, I believe, the penultimate lap. This lap and 1 more to go.
Loving that camera angle.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Can Andy Perks hold off Rob Venn till the end? Can Gary Craig hold off Lee Bowden to the end? Where is Tyler? Okay, let's just have a look. So Tyler is about to start the final lap.
In a race of his own again.
Rob Venn has made the move on Andy Perks. As he has pointed out, Andy couldn't afford to stop because he would lose his podium position. And that's just the bog standard move into the hairpin. Andy tried to come back at him. I think Andy's all right on fuel, you know.
Yeah, I think he saved a lot because he was right
Yeah.
at the pace of Tyler and he lost like 10 seconds to get to Rob, which is quite a lot in the second stint. So that probably explains why he's still on track now. But on the fuel consumption of the first stint, he would have gone for a second stop for sure. But he played it well. He did not lose the spot to Stefan. So, you know.
Yeah, TCR battle is going all the way to the end. There's Tyler Newitt taking home the GT4 win. Gary Craig takes home the TCR win even. Don't know if Andy Perks ran out of fuel as he came over the line, but he's definitely stopping. There you go. He's stuttering.
That was close.
Just made it.
Well done, Andy, because that's great news still.
Well, that was very exciting at the end. Yaz, what did you think of that? We still got Yaz?
I think we lost him.
Right, okay then. Stacey, what you saw, what you listened to, what did you think to that?
Well, I thought it was a really good race. And it was nice to actually arrive home, open up the laptop to find Cole Hardy in the lead. That was fantastic. I think something's probably happened with tyres, like you guys said. But yeah, that was a good race at the end there with Andy just getting over the line just with this last little bit of fuel. So yeah, I enjoyed that. Shame I didn't see the whole thing.
He did well there, to be fair. Yaz, you back with us? Okay, can't hear Yaz. So let's run through your finishing order. So GT4, Tyler Newitt takes home the win for BSTV Esports Orange. Rob Venn, second for BSTV Esports Yellow. A spluttering Andy Perks comes over the line on the third step of the podium. And Stefan Goebel for VTS Germany finishes fourth. For some reason, I keep hearing my own voice. In TCR, Gary Craig takes home the win for BSTV Esports Green. Lee Bowden comes home a very close second for the Sim Racing Channel. And the Pie Man, Carl Hardy, comes home third for Safeguard by Result. Pete Bigham comes home fourth. David Ayres fifth. Jamie Wilson got himself up to sixth. Martin Brennan finished seventh. Mark Draper eighth. And Frank T-Bosch in ninth. So let's get these interviews underway. And let's once again bring in Tyler Newitt to the booth. Tyler, congratulations on your win. That was fairly easy in the end.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was, executing a plan, and as it often is, and we knew what we had to do on the fuel getting into it, and I think Rob was just still getting reacclimated with the Porsche to some extent. I know he can get back to the challenging pace he had in the McLaren in a couple of rounds, but he was, able to make it on one stop, which was not something he was able to do in the McLaren. So it was great, great for BSTV. really impressed with the drive Andy put in, honestly, because that I was trying to hit 25 laps in that first stint, and I didn't. So for him to do that in second is mighty impressive. He was definitely quick out there. I didn't have a ton in the bank that I could count on if he was good on fuel. So it was, not a walk in the park, but when everything goes to plan, it looks that way a little bit.
Yeah, it can do, but obviously, there's a lot of thought that goes in behind it. And Andy, he almost saved enough fuel there to give Rob a worry, but ultimately he spluttered. Looked like coming round the final hairpin after Rob had got past him.
The last 5 laps or so was mostly Rob and I going back and forth in the Discord chat, being like, "There's no way he can make it. There's just no way," and he almost did. So impressive. It's a shame that the GT4 field is so small, but the 4 of us who showed up today are all pretty capable, and most importantly, we all race fair. So I'm gonna see if I can push and get some more entries. But for what it is, it was pretty fun out there.
Yeah, and obviously, if we don't get any more, we'll just chuck you all in TCR.
That'll be a comedy of errors for me.
Exactly.
I can't
Well, I'd say a fantastic race from you. Tactically astute from start to finish. Any shout outs you want to give before we let you go?
Yeah, shout out to BSTV, of course, for putting these races on, and BSTV Esports. It was a really good day for us. Gary with the win in TCR, Rob with the podium, and Pete honestly had the pace for a podium at the end there. He just didn't have time to catch Carl. So definitely a strong performance all around from the team today. And thanks to everybody who shows up to these races. I mean, we've been saying it for as long as I've been a part of it. This is one of the friendliest series out there, and it's one of the most fun for that reason as well. So shout out to everybody who shows up, and of course to the series sponsor EDF for putting these on, and everyone who sponsors all the Backfire series, because they're all good fun, and a good way to spend my Wednesday.
Excellent. Well, thanks as always for joining us in the booth, and congratulations on your GT4 win, Tyler Newitt.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's now bring in our TCR winner, Gary Craig. Welcome to the booth.
Good evening.
So, pole position. You sort of, you led the race. Lee chased you all the way. Then, after the pit stops, hang on a minute. What's Hardy doing up there?
Yeah, well, I manually turned my pit limiter on coming into the pit, so I stopped before the line, and then came to pit out, and it didn't automatically come off, and I was like, why isn't the car going? It's like 2 seconds there or so on the pit limiter extra, and if it hadn't been for that, I would have been out just ahead, but Carl must have been putting in some really good laps whilst he stayed out, because we weren't that close beforehand anyway, so yeah, it's close, it was fun.
Yeah, and we'll find out from Carl. We obviously we don't think he took any tyres.
No,
looked like yourself and Lee did.
No, I didn't. I didn't take any tyres.
Right.
Don't worry, Gary. I said you didn't on the broadcast.
Yeah,
so you're all right. Yeah, there are at least one professional in the booth. Don't worry.
Yeah, so I had about 8 seconds. It's about 8 seconds to take tyres in this car if you take fronts, and I was still feeling okay on mine, so I took the risk of having the gap, and it paid off. Yeah.
Yeah, and that fight with Lee at the end. Was you confident you had enough to stay in front, or was you driving in your mirror?
Oh, I fully expected him on those new tyres to just do it on the brakes into either the hairpin or turn 5. And fortunately, I was a little bit better than him on the flat S's at the back end of the track. So he was never quite close enough. Once or twice he got halfway there, but never close enough to really stick it up the inside. So that's kind of the only thing that saved me there. But I wasn't expecting to be able to keep him behind. I know it's tough to pass here, but with the new tyres, I thought he would get it done. So I was glad he didn't.
Yeah, and we've been saying that you hadn't seemed to have been on pace this season, and what was going on, and then sort of Pete let out the bag that you've had some glitching pedals and you've bought some new pedals that you're getting used to. Does this win give the thumbs up for the new pedals now? Do you think that you are back to where you was last season, or was this this sounds really horrible and it's not meant to, was this a fluke win? I don't think so, because obviously you got pole position as well.
Oh, do I have some race driver excuses for you? First, the dog ate my track map, and then my co-driver got the wrong directions and everything. No, in week 13, my pedals crunched. They've been going for a couple of months, and I could feel it. Like when I pushed the brake, there was a crunchiness, and then something during week 13 went, and the brakes were constantly dragging. Like I couldn't work out why I was 2 seconds off the pace in a fun Legends race, and figured out my brakes were dragging, but like tweaked that with some dead zone things, but it was never right. And I just thought that, and I have struggled with the tires this year. They changed the tire model, and I was really overheating them. So I've changed setup as well, and I'd like to thank Lee for that, because he helped me out with a few things last week. We changed setup, so I'm now on a new set of pedals that aren't broken. They're better, and I've got a setup that I'm not burning the tires out in 20 minutes. So it does help that I'm good around this track. I was good around here last season. I've been doing well in the officials. So it's a bit of both. I do seem to be quick here this week, but no, I think with everything sorted out, I'm back, hopefully back to the front and battling again.
Okay, well, we'll find out next week. Before we let you go, Gary, any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, again to Lee for helping me out last week. He spotted something in my driving and helped me with a bit of setup stuff. So thanks to him for that. Thanks to Carl for the Monday night sessions. We had a really good battle tonight. Sorry that there was a bit of contact there again. He got a little bit into me. We both missed the breaking point, and I got a little bit into him. So apologies to him. There was still a good race. Well done to Pete. He was really quick tonight. He's been quick this week. He keeps putting himself down, but he's definitely had good pace.
Yeah, we can put him down. He doesn't need to do it himself.
Well, that's what I was saying. Don't be hard on yourself. That's what the commentary team's for. But yeah, thanks to Tyler and to Rob, who were in the race with us in Discord, and thanks to you guys, and thanks to everyone else who's racing and watching. And the sponsors, of course, EDF, for sponsoring the league.
Excellent. So congratulations on your TCR win. Pleasure to speak to you, and we'll see you next week.
Right, see you next week. Cheers, guys.
Okay, so who shall we get in next? Let's bring in Rob Venn next, second place in GT4. Burning question for you, Rob, is did you think Andy was going to pip you to that second place?
I thought he was going to pit. That was the thing. Because I saw he went in on lap 21 on the sort of first the stop, and I thought he can't make it 25. There's no way he can make it 25. And we were sort of chatting on the Discord with Tyler, and it was like, no, he can't make it 25. But then you started to see a few laps from the end. Okay, he started to really back off and that type of thing. And you're sort of thinking, oh yeah, he's going to make it, isn't he? That's where I just had to make. Lucky I had a bit of spare fuel, because I planned for 47 laps, not 46. So I did have a little bit of buffer, so I could do probably 4 or 5 flat out laps. So then, the last 4 laps of the race were flat out basically for me. So no fuel saving or anything like that. He drove a hell of a last stint. It was a hell of a last stint to get that Porsche that far. mean, even Tyler couldn't make it on 25, so that says it all.
How did you find it back in the Porsche?
I think I still need to readjust a little bit, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it seemed to go quite well. I was on the pace and stuff like that. Yeah, I just need a bit more time. I think a bit of working on the setup a little bit and get a bit more sort of my feet in on the pedals or whatever. But yeah, I think there's always a little bit to come, isn't there? There's always some way you can get a little bit quicker or fuel save a bit better and that type of thing. I just need to keep working on it because yeah, I need to catch up with Tyler, don't I?
You know, we are getting a little bit fed up with him saying, you know, well done to Rob for finishing second. It'd be nice.
Well, yeah, the annoying thing today is he got a clean sweep, didn't he? Because he got pole when he got the fastest lap. I can't even wind him up about that. So yeah, the last few races we were able to wind him up about, oh, you didn't get the fastest lap or you didn't get pole or whatever. But yeah, today he did the whole sweep, royal flush or whatever they call it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, any shout outs you want to give before we let you go?
Yeah, shout out to EDF Motorsport for sponsoring the series and stuff, and the team, TV Simsport. You guys for putting on the stream and stuff, and all the drivers and everyone watching. Yeah, maybe thank you. I mean, we need a few more GT4 drivers though. So if you're a GT4 driver, yeah, come and join us. Yeah,
we've come up with a plan. We're going to chuck you all in TCRs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Well, pleasure talking to you, Rob. Congratulations on your second place, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so who have we got next? So we have got Lee Bowden. Lee Bowden, welcome to the booth.
Good evening.
Good evening. My burning question for you is, has the argument between you and your stepmom finished about the pronunciation of your surname?
I've given up now. It can just be whatever people want to call it.
Yeah, apologies for that. Fantastic race, mate. Really good battle there with Gary Craig at the end. How did you find that race?
Yeah, really enjoyable that. Gary's a great racer, and I mean, credit to him. I mean, when I came out, or no, rather, when he came out after the pit stop, it took me a little while to try and work out whether he'd changed tyres or not. So yeah, I mean, his pace. I assume he was on old tyres, was he?
Yeah, he didn't take. Or he tells us he didn't take any tyres in the stop.
Yeah, so his
that'll
pace,
make you feel a bit worse.
No, his pace was amazing. The thing is, there was a couple of sort of opportunities where I probably could have sent it down the inside, but it was probably 50-50 at best, and you know, nobody wins by two people sort of crashing at the hairpin at the end. So, you know, it was good race. Really enjoyed that. But it's good to see Gary back on pace again.
Yeah, it certainly is. And you know, from your perspective, you've had a couple of second places and a third. When is that top step of the podium coming?
Well, yeah, it'd be nice for it to happen sooner rather than later, wouldn't it?
Well, you've certainly got the pace for it, mate. It's just, I suppose, putting the whole race together, isn't it, including qualifying?
Yeah, well, that's my problem. I'm not very good at qualifying, and the problem is with a track like this, you know, if you're stuck in sort of third or fourth or whatever, it's difficult to get past. You just got to be patient and just hope somebody makes a mistake. But as you saw today, you know, Gary made sort of very few mistakes and was a worthy winner.
Yeah, most definitely. Can't disagree. Well, say that he did make a mistake right near the end, went off track, let you close up on him again. But and it was always touch and go on whether you was going to get him at the end. So yeah, absolutely fantastic racing from you guys. Any shout outs you want to give before we let you go? And don't forget the stepmom.
Well, yeah, I suppose I better say the family, you know, I don't want to upset them. Obviously, you guys for putting this on, and to be honest, all the people that race in the series, because it's a cracking series, and like all the drivers in both classes are excellent.
Well, brilliant. Pleasure to talk to you, Lee. don't be shy. Please come back to the booth whenever you feel like it, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yeah, will do. Cheers. Have a good evening.
And you, sir. Right, who have we got next? Let's go down my list. Let's get in the Pie Man. Carl Hardy, welcome to the booth.
Hello, you all right?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. So what happened there? We heard from Gary. Reason he's probably pressed the wrong button because he's French.
Sorry,
you
guys,
came
I don't know
out
why.
in first place, and then it all went a bit pear-shaped or pie-shaped, should I say? Tell us what happened.
I got beaten up.
You did, didn't you, a little bit by Gary?
I got the corner wrong, which gave him the run. I tried to block it. We had a bit of door banging. That's fine, isn't it? It's cool. But he was there. He went for the move, didn't he? So it was happy days.
Yeah,
you lot something to concentrate on, didn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. And then obviously from that, that put you in a sticky position. Lee got the run on you as well. And we hear Pete was catching you quite quickly at the end, but
very quick.
Yeah,
Very
was it just your tyres were shot by that stage?
Pete had tyres. Pete had new tyres on, and flying. It makes such a difference. I was chatting to Gary actually on Monday night about tyre wear and stuff like that, and I was trying to be really, really good while I was following them at the start of the race. I think I've done all right. I only lost a second throughout from my quickest to me slowest at the end there, so second off. It's not too bad.
That's good going. And you're up there on the podium again in TCRs.
Only if it can take my weight.
Yeah, it is reinforced. And as Bill would say, you beat your nemesis David Evers. So you must be pleased with how things went tonight.
Absolutely, 100%. I had Mark whinging in my ear all night about dust in his eyes. He's got one leg. He's got a sore arm. Oh my God! No wonder I lost the race.
Mark did have a bit of a night, didn't he?
And apparently it's my fault that Jamie took out Frank, so I've got to say sorry to Frank. If I hadn't have pitted got onto the grid so quickly, Jamie would have had time to do his thing. So it's my fault that Jamie didn't have his right setup or something. So
it's always your
Frank.
fault. Always your fault, mate. So
there we go. I've got broad shoulders and 3 chins, so it's fine.
Exactly. Anyway, mate. Any shout outs you want to give before we let you go?
All the result lads, all the drivers, yourselves, do a grand job. That's it. All good. Fantastic
well
race,
done,
though.
good drive.
Cheers, Stace. You all right?
All good. I was so glad to see you up front there when I got home, and I was like, no, what's going on when you lost it? But well done, though. Honestly, you deserved that 3rd place, mate. Well done.
Cheers, Stace. I think Bill said me for the win.
Yeah, and to be fair, Stacey's first comment was, "Why is Fat Boy winning?"
I never said that.
Don't worry, Carl. We'll tell you the truth.
Yeah, I got a nosebleed and just dropped back. That's fine.
Anyway, mate, always a pleasure to talk to you, and we'll see you next time out.
I'm not about. I'm karting next week.
Oh, right. Okay. We'll sod you then.
Yeah, I'm at Ella.
Right. Okay.
I can't say no to that, can I? It's
no.
Right up the road.
No, and it is such fun round there as well.
Quality track.
Yeah.
Quality track.
All right, mate. Well, we'll see you in a couple of weeks then.
Yeah. Take care.
Catch you later.
How about?
Okay, let's bring in Mr. Pete Bumpy Bingham. Welcome to the booth.
Well, good evening. I didn't expect to get interviewed, to be honest.
to interview you because we didn't actually see too much of you, and we didn't see any slow-mo replays either. So everything must be rosy in the Bingham household.
Yeah, no X's tonight. I tried to get one at the end because I gave Cal a little nudge after the race. But yeah, it was. I like this track. I was all right round here last season, and a bit better around here this season. Different set of pedals, not quite as good as Gary's apparently, but really good race. But I was on my own for nearly all of it, which is a difficult race to run. Really, you've got nothing to run with, so you're making your own lines as you go. And it can be a bit, how can I put it? It's almost more difficult because when you're following someone, it's a race is really easy. They brake, you brake, they turn in, you turn in. You try and do all of that a little bit better than them, and you keep with them. But those three out front just pulled away at the beginning, couldn't get anywhere near them. Gary said he wasn't taking tyres because he'll never get his seconds back. I decided to do the opposite of that, run to the end of my fuel. I even ran longer than Carl did. But I just couldn't gain that time back. I did pull him back in the end. I was gaining nearly a full second a lap. So I only needed another 10 laps.
Yeah, just in answer to something you said there, you make your own lines on every track, so that doesn't make any difference whatsoever. And so we was concentrating on the battle between Gary and Lee, so we didn't actually see how quickly or how close you got to Carl in the end. But you had decent tyres. Carl's tyres were shot, and yeah, you almost got him, and also almost got that third step on the podium.
Yeah, I didn't almost get him. I was 9.8 seconds behind him at the end.
Sorry, yes, you said you give him a nudge after the line, didn't you?
Yeah. But I came out of the pits about 16, 17 seconds behind him and finished 9.8 seconds behind him. So I was pulling him in pretty damn quick. But yeah, he was on gel by the time he got to there. He'd melted his tyres, and what he had melted wasn't worth much.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just tried to keep it safe and on the track and get some points for the team tonight. Gary was utterly rapid, and has been in the officials as well. I think he got his highest points haul of any race at all ever the other day, 145 championship points in an official, which I've never seen before. So very good. And hopefully that means that we're in a better place for the rest of the season.
Excellent. Well, before we let you go, Pete, any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, EDF Motorsports for sponsoring the league. BSTV for putting me back in a car just for your own amusement, I'm pretty sure, but I am enjoying it, so it's good. Thanks to the idiots that chose the green hell for next time out, because I really need to get an A to Z in order to find my way around it. And Tyler and Rob.
Next, mate.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and then green hell.
Oh, right, okay. I like Phillip Island. I don't know whether it likes me too much, but I don't think I've ever driven it in a front-wheel drive car, so let's see what happens. But yeah, all you guys for doing the broadcast. I'll watch it back at some point. I don't normally watch them, but I might watch that one. Yeah, see you next time.
Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us, and I'll speak to you on Saturday because we're commentating again.
Yeah, see you then.
Right, see you later. Okay then, last but not least, let's bring in Mr. Jamie Wilson. Welcome to the booth.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. So, what happened at the start?
That was chapter 1 of the book of errors that was this race. It's Carl's fault.
Yeah, he's already admitted that.
Yeah, so basically I was a bit distracted in the sort of post-quali pre-gridding bit, and ended up going on the grid on the quali set like a donut. Normally, not that big a deal. Noticed it straight away. Got out the car, but in the process of me holding the reset button down, literally half a second? In that time, Carl was the last car to grid, and he gridded. And at that point, missed start. Hooray! I was just saying to him in the waiting room just now, I needed like Tony Klusterman to be here and he's famous 1 second into the start thing. So yeah, that set the tone.
And then we see you with a coming together with Frank. And I don't know what it was like from your perspective, but for us, it looked like he possibly slowed sooner than you had expected.
Maybe, but it's my responsibility at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I've apologised to him. I jumped out of the car and went straight down into their channel and said, "Frank, I'm really sorry about that." He said he was a bit miffed at the time, but he's all right with it. He shouldn't be because it was awful. Yeah, I just misjudged the overlap there, and it was a bit like if you remember the when NASCAR had the 2-car tango at Daytona. If you just boop one side of the car, it just sends it.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that there's a concrete tyre stack there, and it looked like an airplane crash. There was all sorts of stuff flying around. And yeah, no, I felt awful about it. It was entirely my fault. I was just a bit flustered from the start shenanigans and trying to carry the momentum I had, running out of the pits. I was catching that little group hand over fist. I was just trying to lose as little momentum as possible to do that. And in the heat of that, I just misjudged something and absolutely murdered someone in the process. So, yeah, I've apologised to him already, but, publicly as well. Apologies to Frank. That was a big faux pas on my part.
And then after that, it was just a case of catching as many drivers, passing as many drivers as you can to try and rescue a poor evening.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that kind of killed, I wouldn't say killed my interest, but it just kind of took the edge off the whole race for me because I was just kicking myself for the last 50 minutes of it. And, yeah, I was having an eye on whether to take front tyres or not. Seems there's a bit of variance through everyone else as to what they were doing. And then chapter 3 of the Comedy of Errors was I decided to make that judgment having seen the percentages in the pit stop. So I ticked the fronts, and then it sort of half released me, and then the car went up on the jacks, and I'm pretty sure it took all 4. So I was like, I don't know what voodoo doll someone's got out there that's got shaped like my car, but anyway, yeah. But that then it was a case of I just came out ahead of Mark, which neither he was saying he was surprised by that, so was I. I was like, oh blimey, a car, can't believe it. And then I caught up Martin Brennan, who went full Bingham. So I passed him by phasing through him.
Yeah, we was actually watching that battle live. Yeah,
that was quite an interesting overtake through the 4th dimension or something. Yeah. So at that point, I was just sort of lapping around, waiting for it to be over so that I could go and apologise to Frank. So.
Okay, well, thanks for being honest as usual. We don't expect anything else from you. Yeah, one to forget. But next week we are at Phillip Island. Is that a track you enjoy?
Kind of. It's always been a track that I enjoy driving, but I've never really done very well race-wise around there. But I do at least have recent experience. I did the old IndyCar around there in a league quite recently, so there's going to be a bit of adjustment to adjust my braking points from that to a TCR car. I don't think you can get much for polar opposites than that, but yeah, no, looking forward to that, and yeah, I'll try not to murder anyone there.
Well, on the plus side, mate, it probably couldn't go any worse next week, so. Yeah, we expect to see you up there fighting for the win next week. So any shout-outs you want to give, Jamie, before we let you go?
Yeah, the rest of the field, the result boys are all good about it, in the sense that I'd got a load of abuse, which is fine. That's what you expect.
Exactly.
And the rest of the field as usual. I mean, it's interesting that we've got a couple of different people that are being the protagonists in some of these. Cole's up there, Gary's up there. Mark wasn't there today, but he would normally be up there. There's a bit of variance going on, which is like I said last time, anyone can win one of these. It's just a matter of putting the work in to do it.
Yeah, exactly. I certainly couldn't disagree with you there. Well, thanks for joining us in the booth as always. Like I say, we do appreciate your honest answers to our questions. Jamie Wilson, I'm going to say it. Congratulations on your 6th place, and we'll see you next time out.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers,
Jamie. Right, Sam. Oh no, Stacey's come back to life. So we can't speak to Yaz because he can hear us, but we can't hear him. Stacey's given us a rundown. Sam, from a camera point of view, not as we expect from this league, not much in the way of accidents, but still on track action for you to practice your button pressing.
Yeah, I feel like we've not watched a good race because Pete has not crashed, so that's not that's not a proper GT4 TCR race.
Can we
crashing?
Can we edit one of his previous crashes into this stream?
I think if we take Sonoma last season, yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah, that's
gonna
good.
do that, right?
Yeah.
Now, awesome race. That was great fun. I enjoyed again. There's not much to say, It's always the same.
No, that's right. Yeah, it's always good racing. So I've got Yaz's driver of the meeting, and he's given his vote this week to Andy Perks for his 26. Well, he says it was a 26 lap stint. It wasn't actually, was it? It was a 25.92 lap stint. But yeah, Andy Perks gets Yaz's vote. Stacey, your driver of the night, please.
It's got to be Cole Hardy for leading the race for a little while. So yeah, it's got to be Cole.
Okay, so there is a vote for Carl. That's the first one of the season. Sam, your driver of the evening, please.
I would say it's almost a tie between Andy and Gary, but I will go with Gary this time because I don't think I voted for him already, and he actually won the race. So yeah, congrats to Gary.
Okay, so one there for Gary Craig from Sam. Obviously, Bill's not with us, but I am going to agree with Sam. Again, it was any of those, Tyler Newitt, you could say, a commanding victory, really should get driver of the evening. Andy Perks should also get it for that 25.92 stint at the end and manage to cough it over the line. Lee Bowden had a fantastic drive. Carl Hardy had a fantastic drive. I could also give it to Pete for not crashing. But ultimately, Gary Craig was the winner in TCR. Gary Craig has been off the pace through all of the excuses that he gave us. But nice to see Gary back on the top step. So, yeah, that will be my vote for Gary. So, just to give you a quick, let me just sort this because I'm absolutely stupid. There we go.
It's on the broadcast, so.
Right. Well, I won't even mention it then because Sam's already done it. I'd like to thank, obviously, all drivers that do show up, everybody that joins us on the chat. As usual, make sure you drop the video a like, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, make sure you follow us on Facebook, and then you will never miss another race. Coming up on BSTV, so Saturday, we have round one of the Next Level Endurance Series. And that is I'm desperately trying to work it out. An 8-hour race, I believe.
12 hours.
12, is it? A 12-hour race.
12-hour race, yeah.
From Watkins Glen. So
No,
that's
from Hockenheim.
Oh yeah, they've swapped everything round, haven't they? Sorry, I haven't updated my sheet. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
you made that mistake, and I did the mistake as well because I just follow your sheet.
Yeah, sorry about that. So yeah,
Yeah.
that is from the newly released Hockenheim on iRacing. Sunday, we're back with the Prototype Endurance Challenge. That is from Sebring. Fantastic race last time out. And then next week, we are back with this series from the wonderful, one of my favourite tracks, Phillip Island in Australia. So I'd like to thank Sam, Stacey, and Yaz for joining me in the booth. It's time for us to close, so I shall say good night to everybody. Let Sam and Stacey say good night, and then we'll close. So good night, everybody. Thanks for watching.
I was waiting on Sam then. I was going to let him go first. Yeah, thanks for having me as usual. Thanks to the drivers, and I'll catch you next week.
I always come last, you know.
That's not what your wife says.
I was sure about that one, but anyway, thanks for watching, and yeah, we'll see you on Saturday for a pretty long race, but surely entertaining for the next level endurance series.